Here's some self-myofascial release techniques that I use to relieve any kind of muscle stiffness, tightness in my thighs, any knots, any trigger points. It's a nice self-exploratory movement using a foam roller as well as a lacrosse ball. I'll cover both techniques in this video. Now you're going to begin with your hamstrings first, which usually don't have quite as many trigger points as your quadriceps do or your IT band, iliotibial band that runs from your hips down to your knees. So beginning with the hamstrings, just nice, slow, controlled movement. You want to take some nice, relaxing, deep breaths. In the beginning, this is going to be very painful, especially as you get to the IT band here and moving over to your quadriceps. So play around with the amount of pressure that you apply on your thigh. The more you do this on a frequent daily basis, the less rigid your muscles are going to be, the looser they will be, and the more you'll be able to handle the kind of pain that you're going to go through with this self myofascial release technique. So I'm going nice and slow at this point because my IT band tends to be very tight if I'm not on top of this myofascial release technique. So I'm going to go nice and slow. When I find a knot, when I find a trigger point, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to try to relax as much as I can. I'm going to take some nice deep breaths and allow the trigger point to work itself out, to release. Very, very important that you try to stay as relaxed as possible while you're doing this. And it's not easy because this is a painful area to perform self-massage. It's just tough, especially when you have lots of knots. So nice and controlled, and I am applying a great deal of pressure here by having both my feet off of the ground. All of my weight is right up on the quadricep muscles right now. So it's all on the one leg. I've got my other leg right off of the foam roller, my one foot on top of the other leg. So I am creating a great deal of pressure here. The better you get at this, the looser you are, the more frequently you perform this, you can graduate to PVC pipe, which is hard, firm, dense, 4 inches, 6 inches in diameter is fantastic, and that will really dig in deep into these muscles and find those trigger points deep down and allow you to work them out. You'll be blown away at how trigger points and knots in these muscles impact all other areas of your body. Trigger points and knots in your thighs can really throw off your back. I'll find a lot of back pain will originate, IT band, and even the lower area of my quadriceps. So it's very important to roll right down to the knee because I find just outside of my knee on the quadricep muscle can cause some back pain if I've got a knot there. Now here I am working the inner thigh, so I got one leg off of the roller and it's sliding along the ground as I'm working the inner thigh of my right leg here. And now we're getting ready. After it's loosened up here, we're going to use a lacrosse ball now, make it even deeper. So we're digging deep. I got the lacrosse ball digging deep into my hamstrings here, rolling it out from the glutes all the way down to the back of the knee. Same idea, nice, slow, controlled technique. It helped using the foam roller first because it really loosened things up. Now we get to really explore deep into the hamstrings, quadriceps, IT band to really find those knots and trigger points deep down. So going right down behind the knee. If you find a knot here, you're going to hold it. You need to relax. Take some nice, deep, relaxing breaths. Let it work itself out. You may feel it pulsate at this point. Roll yourself back up towards the glutes. And then back down. Just exploring different areas of the hamstring. And then moving over to the IT band. And then over to the quadriceps. Trying to find those knots and trigger points deep down. We really like to do this in the evenings while we're watching television, relaxing at the end of the day. It's a great way to kind of unwind, and relieving these trigger points is it's a great way, like a nice little self-massage that helps you unwind at the end of the day, so you go to sleep feeling recovered, recuperated, and you can recover and get ready for the day, the following day. So here I am. This is probably one of the toughest areas where I find a great number of trigger points for me. I have to really stay on top of this on a daily basis. If I let this go for a week's time or 2 weeks, those knots will really build up and become more and more difficult and painful to release. So the more you do this, the easier it's going to be on yourself. Well, there we go. I can tell I hit a good trigger point there. I'm going to hold it, relax, take those deep breaths, and then work it out. Roll it right out down towards the knee. I've got all of my weight on this ball, so my butt is up off the ground. I got some weight on that back foot, some weight on my forearm, trying to slide along. Exploring various areas of the quadriceps, so it's getting deep down in the quads here. Find those knots, take the deep breaths, relax, which is the hardest thing to do at this point. You find a knot, but you want to relax, especially with the quads here. Just really allow that ball to sink into the quad. Find that trigger point and let it pulse itself out. So the quadricep that I'm massaging out here, that foot is off of the ground right now. I've just got some pressure on my other foot to help me slide along, as well as my forearms. Digging deep right down towards the knee. Flip around to show you a different view here. And then you're going to play around with it. Different areas, it's very self-exploratory, no specific rules or guidelines. You're just trying to move that ball around in a nice, slow, controlled manner to find those trigger points and work it out. Don't rush through this. Don't be tense. The more tense you are, the more the knots are just not going to release themselves if you're tense and not allowing that ball to really sink in and relax and take those deep breaths. So play around with this, massage out those quads, thighs, hamstrings, and you'll be way better off and you'll squat much better. Your leg workouts will be much, much improved.